Hello and welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Cordes, joined by our superintendent, Mr. Hime. August 12th, it's right around the corner.
Hey, it's crazy. You know, even when you're in administration, you wait for summer and you wait for it and then boom, it's fast forward and over. It's been a good summer, doing a lot of things to prepare for the next school year. A lot of great things going on, and we're excited about next school year.
And it truly is here. We've seen some transformations in our buildings. Edison's almost done, ready for the kids to come in. The LRC is being, revamped and makeovers. Lincoln is getting done. There's just so many projects outside of the administration part that's happening.
You know, some of the fall sports are starting.
Yes, we've had softball practice.
Yes, I think some of the fall sports are already starting, and it's here.
Yes, football. Everybody's out there, and the weather has been. We've had a few hiccups in the last few weeks of just rain and knocked over fences and whatnot, but it's nice.
Yeah, our challenges will be, first of all, getting students, when you got 13,000 students, hopefully we get back to almost 14,000 with the pandemic being over, and we get all of our students back who left for different reasons. We get them placed in the proper buildings, the proper platforms. That's going to be some work. So, we're the challenge to our parents and our adults is to get some paperwork done. We're going to offer it online. Where can they find that?
Well, and that's what reminds me. Tell them about check-in. Check-in is that week before school. So what's the purpose and why they should come?
Well, we check in to get you information. And again, a lot of people move, so we want the most up-to-date information from our parents because we know, first and foremost, to be successful educationally, we have to form a full working partnership with our parents. We can do all the things we want to do, but for success and for our students to be successful, we need that partnership. And in order to have that partnership, we need an update. For one thing, when you fill that out, make sure it's the proper mailing address. We get you things mailed to you. The phone number is important. So for our call blasts and for specific information, a lot of times in the past for me, parents, they'd get tired of that call blast. We really strive to only use it in specific situations. And now it's gotten more technologically advanced where we can send it to groups instead of everybody getting messages. So anytime you get a message, it should be relevant to you.
And they can get their Time with Hime podcast.
Oh, yeah, you get this podcast.
That's right, on Fridays.
Yes.
And then we will have we've had questions about the type of forms that people need to fill out, the parents do. And those will all be done during check-in, but we're also going to notify them with the correct number and email address, because that's the other thing. They'll need their email address with Infinite Campus, correct?
Yes. And one of the things that'll be a little bit confusing is there's that income form to see if you qualify for lunches.
For free and reduced, because that's different this year.
But everybody gets to eat free this year. But we still need that information because we get funding and grants and a lot of those. So if you'll take your time to quick fill that out, it helps us to get a good count on how many of our students, just like the addresses where you live. I mean, we have our home language surveys. We have our housing surveys for impact aid. So we have a lot of things we have to do, and it's a lot of paperwork. But just know, we try to limit that paperwork, but anything we ask you to fill out at check-in or online, those are things we need, the federal government wants us to get or the state wants to get us, and a lot of that is tied to our school funding, and that's how we're able to keep buying devices and hotspots and improve the resources our teachers have that we can offer to our students to improve our educational opportunities.
And let's talk about that. You talked about technology devices. For families coming into the district or brand new from other places, what does that mean when you say technology? And then especially the insurance, because we did push out the middle school supply list and then the elementary, and it does have that information.
Yes, because
so share that.
One thing we do is we provide a device for every student in our district. It's pre-K, kindergarten, first and second graders get an iPad. Third and up use a Chromebook. One reason we move to the Chromebook when we get to third and up is because state testing is online and they have to use a Chromebook. So we provide those devices. The thing we do for our parents is when you check out that device, we allow, strongly encourage, or really highly recommend you purchase insurance for that device. I believe it's $25, $30? $30 for the insurance.
For if they had a Wi-Fi.
And if you don't have internet, we provide a Wi-Fi for free. You get a what they call a MiFi, where you can get internet for the device you checked out. But if you get that internet, then we provide you $15 insurance to insure that MiFi. And a lot of times that's that helps the parents out, because allowing teenagers or young children, early teenagers to use a device and putting a couple $100 MiFi in their hand and a $300 or $400 device in their hand is a little bit concerning to parents because of the liability of it. Well, by getting the insurance, they're protected. So if they damage it, then we'll replace the device and use the insurance money. And it worked out pretty good balance for us last year in how much money we collected versus how much we had to pay out to keep our devices working. So we'll keep it right out there.
I did see some ran over laptops and just by accident, and I was like, wow, but it's a care
things happen. I mean, everybody listening has broke their screen on their phone before, just about. I'm not saying everybody, but almost everybody's had a cracked screen before, and they know what it costs if you don't have insurance to get it repaired. So it's really a small amount. And I think it gives a sense of relief to our parents or confidence, and they don't have to worry, man, if my kid breaks their device, I'm going to have to come up with $300 to get them another device. You remember back in the library book days, if you lost your book, you had to pay for a new one before you got it and such and such. And this is just because the device has become such an important part of a student's education, we're doing everything we can to keep that device in their hand.
Now, when we're talking about what's also coming up, we have the TAP programs that are going to be available for our middle school and then the LRC for our high school. So let's just share with our families a little update about how that's going.
Well, if you went by Tomlinson, used to be Tomlinson Middle School, that is now our Life Ready Center, you would see there's we're updating they're painting it, they're getting it where it looks more like a university center. It's not just a university center. We're going to have art in there. I know they're having vocational agriculture in there. The career tech's got 3 classes in there. I think we got 8 concurrent classes and then 6 to 10 AP classes. We're going to run buses back and forth so that students will be able to attend. And again, the ideal is to create more offering for our students. The TAP program is going to be new. And I'm excited about that because, you start with an idea and it always starts small and then it's going to grow. So how big it gets, in 21, 22 will be nothing where it heads. But right now it's a more hands-on program. Some students just, they're not real, I got a brother who's in education, but I got another brother who's a welder. They all do well and they're very successful, but they're both successful. But my brother, who was a welder, when it came to school, he just never was much at sitting behind the desk, and he always wanted to be as hands-on, working outside. Well, that's what the TAP program is for middle school kids. Our 13, 14-year, our 7th and 8th graders, we're going to try to get it where they get a little bit of time doing things. So I know we're going to have some woodworking and some home to garden, some landscaping, and some different programs we're going to have across the district at our middle schools in order to offer more opportunities for our middle school students.
Remind families about the dress code. We've had a lot of questions over the last few weeks about what it looks like. We do have a form that we're pushing out with the guidelines, but from our transition from last year in our elementaries to this year, it is different.
Yeah, and for a lot of parents, it won't change. Although they had dress codes, it really wasn't a highly enforced. The modified dress code was not strongly enforced, so you had rule followers who were following the rules, and some, especially people who moved in, who were just getting their kids to school. And the guide is, we want your child at school. And most of the time, we shouldn't spend too much time on it because 99% of the people know what's appropriate to wear to school, and they do it. We're going to have a few, and kids, we're going to have kids who change clothes on the way to school, and their parents are going to be appalled at what, I raised 3 kids. They weren't perfect. So we will work hard, to work with parents because we want our kids at school. So there will be a dress code. There is a dress code.
There's guidelines.
There's
not
guidelines.
A modified uniform dress code.
There's expectations that we come to school and we're not distracting other students. We're doing, we're all dressed appropriately. So individual buildings, hopefully that'll all be handled at the local level and it'll never get to the district office, and parents and administration at sites can work that out where our students are dressed properly and we're educating students, not dress code police.
Give an update on our OSTP. You just did a news story not too long ago about the results, and what does that look like for families coming in?
Those test results are in preliminary. There's not a lot of in-depth for our district, so there is some individual student coming in. If it's not out there yet, it won't be long, and I believe you can log on to Infinite Campus and see your scores, and you can also hopefully as we get closer to school starting. But I think it's going to be August before the final results get in, whereas we get some really good district results and we get to start digging into the data. It's one of the things we struggle with because we want to use that test data not to grade teachers or grade kids or grade schools. We want to use it to make good, sound instructional decisions. And in this year, more so than any year, that test data is going to help identify the gaps we have because of the pandemic and being out of school and the number of students who missed school last year, or maybe the gaps were created by some of the virtual students who didn't do as much. So not having that data until school starts really difficult, because I'd like it now so we can make those decisions in preparations for August 12th. Well, if we don't get the data till August 12th, we've already started, and not that we can't change in midstream, because we proved that last year. But the sooner we get that data and we get it out, we're going to use it for instructional decisions as a school, as a site, as a classroom, and even for some individuals to help accentuate their positives and look for their weaknesses and try to fill the gaps.
I did have a question on our info at Lawton PS, and it was asking about LATs. Can you share updates?
Our goal is to keep LATs just as it was, and I think they were even talking about expanding it, and I know they're working on that contract, and we're getting really close, that maybe even a little bit younger students can ride it. Again, LATs is a good deal for us. If you got your student ID badge, the plan is you'll be able to ride it for free next year, and we do not plan on changing that, and as far as I know, the city has already approved it, and so it's just a matter of that contract getting over and us looking at it, making sure it's good, and getting on our board agenda on August 2nd. I'm sure it'll be approved and we'll be ready to go.
And speaking of the LATs, we will still have the Z-Pass for our students, which is a requirement when they have their ID badge.
Yes.
And that was helpful last year when a student got off on the wrong stop by accident.
Oh, yes, for our buses as well. Yes. And the LATs may even help it run some of the routes and some of for the LRC. We've talked about that, to get, using the LATs to help. So, again, we need to do everything we can to work with the city. It doesn't always work the way I want. Sometimes it's a struggle, and sometimes, we go back and forth. But the school and the city need to work together for the best of our students. And LATS is one of those places we are working really well together in order to improve opportunities for our students.
As well as the Handle with Care that we're working on again.
Very good with the police and the Handle with Care. That's going to be really exciting when we get the year started, and ways for us to have a better feel for what our students are going through and be prepared when tragic things happen to our students without knowing exactly what happened, and crossing that line of getting into their personal life and knowing why they have a Handle with Care situation. We just need to know they have a situation that we need to be aware of.
Mr. Hime, is there anything truly, we're a couple weeks away from July ending and hitting the floor.
We're going to wake up in the morning and it's going to be August.
And teachers are starting to come back. I saw principals, you've been working with them already, excitement.
Yeah, and the one thing you get, although we don't always look forward to August, and teachers and school people and parents, we're excited about school starting, but hey, football season comes.
You're ready for that.
One thing that always comes back with school starting is football season. So we're getting excited about that too. So.
And we know you have your multiple hats, and you get to be at the home games and
away
games.
Yes, and again, I like
softball.
We're going to try to work in all the sports with our
Yes.
TV and stuff, but we really like the fact that we can watch all of our games on OSN, and I'm really excited about that.
And we will continue to share all of that information. Mr. Hime, please, before we leave, give our families and community members our website and email address.
Yeah, info@lawtonps.org, or lawtonps.org is our website. So if you'll email to that questions, we'd love to answer them. We're looking for those. We're trying to use this, and we plan on the podcast or video cast as we go back and forth to continue to be part of our communication. So if you got questions or things you think we need to address, please send them, and we'll start getting some more guests on.
Yes, it's been exciting. They've had us for just a couple of weeks. I point over there because that's where our guests are usually sitting. And so we will continue all of that. Thank you so much for your time. We're heading into the weekend. I hope you have a wonderful one. Hopefully it's not raining.
Everybody enjoy it. For all of our staff and faculty, be sure and unwind, recharge your batteries. Got about 2-3 weeks left, and get ready. And I know a lot of you have worked over the summer anyway, getting prepared for the year and getting ready. Hopefully we can stay where we're at, and it's a normal year, and we can continue to fend off all the things that are trying to keep it from being normal.
Yes, sir. Until then, thank you so much for your time. Thank you guys for your time. Be well, stay safe, and make positive impacts. Have a great weekend.